Well, we're back with In the Circle, sponsored by Rawlings, the official softball of the Missouri Valley Conference and the NCAA tournament as well. Today, we are joined by second-year head coach at Bradley, Sarah Willis, and welcome in, Coach. Off to a great start so far this year, but before we talk and dive into this year, let's talk a little bit about last year, your first year in the Valley,
Mhm.
and kind of your overall impressions and your assessment of year one.
Yeah, I mean, last year coming in and being, one of the newbies, although the conference changed quite a bit because we acquired, two other programs with Murray State and Belmont from the OVC originally. So, the conference got bigger, although I was familiar with them before because I had coached as an assistant coach back in the day at SEMO. So, was very aware that Missouri Valley Conference is obviously a very competitive conference, a lot of great ball clubs in the conference. So knew that it was going to be kind of a getting reacclimated to what Missouri Valley teams looked like. And it was a great learning experience the first year, especially learning your program, kind of understanding where the identity has been, where we're going, what needs to get done, what changes need to be implemented, what do we do well. Like you said, being a new coach coming into it, although not a new head coach, but just being a new head coach of a different ball club, there's a lot of things that you're just trying to understand, the inner workings, the ball players, like I said, identity, because that always changes with when there's changes made at the top. Everyone's got a different way of doing things. So a big learning year. Obviously a very challenging year. The overall record was really difficult. In losing, just like winning is hard, both ways. And so kind of relearning how to win here. How are we going to do that? So it was a lot of really trying to learn what we do well, learn, the ball players here on and off the field. So like I said, I keep reusing the word, but there's no other way to put it. It was a real big learning year last year for the new coaching staff, just with the ball club and seeing, what Missouri Valley style softball looks like.
So, what was the biggest thing that you learned about last year's team that has carried over, and the players are kind of absorbing that and taking that in?
I think the biggest thing that was really discussed last year and that we've really tried to implement and kind of be a non-negotiable was the discipline and how we do the little things in this ball club. We had a lot of great ball players in the ball club on and off the field. Fantastic group. I think it was a group that last year they got along extremely well on and off the field. But you always got to have a little bit of that battle. If you're going to grow, there's got to be battles, because it's worth fighting for. It's kind of like a family. You're gonna fight and quarrel with your siblings a little bit, not over the little petty stuff, but over the things that really matter. Because and so I think that's the thing that I've enjoyed seeing this year, and we're nowhere near close. It takes so much time to kind of relearn how you're going to be successful here and what that takes to be successful. And that's the consistency, but if you're going to do the little things right, you got to do them right all the time. It doesn't matter whether it's you tuck in your shirt every single day before you go to lift. Oh, it was untucked, a teammate's going to say, hey, you got your shirt untucked and it doesn't need a response. It's just like, hey, thank you. You're being a great teammate there, right down to, verbiage in the dugout and on the field, right down to how we warm up every single day. There's a really great book that we read earlier on in the fall. It was Chop Wood, Carry Water. It's a great story. And the long story short is, how do we chop wood and carry water every single day? What are our list of to-dos that have to get done? Because those little things are definitely going to bleed onto the field. And if you can't do the little things off the field right, how are we going to execute the little things on the field?
And that's interesting because I had seen that on a couple of your Twitter feeds that, the chop wood, carry water. And so
Yep.
you've answered that question for me.
Yeah.
So great motto to follow. And accountability from your players too, to kind of keep everybody else in line.
Yep.
You talk about, you have a lot of players back from last year, but you added 3 transfers, or maybe 4. I think it's 3 or 4. but they're coming in and making an impact. So talk a little bit about meshing the new with the old and how that's going.
I really discussed with a lot of our new ball players coming in here, as well as with all of our returners, that, guys, and they've always been a very warm and welcoming group, because they know that as a coaching staff, we're going to bring people in here that are going to push and challenge all of us to be better. Better competitors on the field, better teammates off the field, and in every which way. So there's a lot of intentionality with the group that we brought in. And the focus was, especially with the new, I told them, you guys can kind of take a step back and see what's going on here, but I don't want you to be taking a step back for too long, because I need you guys to step up and be leaders here. Last year was a really hard year. And again, it was a lot of losing. And, there's a lot of close ball games that, if you win those, you feel different on the year, and your mindset's a little different. I said, so this isn't going to be easy. It's not a complete rebuild, but we got to rebuild our mindset and the way we go about doing things around here. And that has to change. And a lot of these players that came in that were transfers, I mean, they've been successful, whether it was at their junior college or at their other 4-year institution. They've had success. They've won. And sometimes it takes winners to help teach, how do we do things? How can you win? And there's a lot of ways to win on the ball, on the ball field, obviously. So I kind of told everybody in general, I needed there to be some of that adversity. I needed things, the status quo that's always been and what we've always done here, some things needed to change. But they've done a really great job on, I think blending. We're still not done with that yet, because I'd still love for some of our newcomers to continue to step up and have their voice be heard, which is happening more and more. And you all of a sudden start to see a lot of blending of the old and the new, if I want to put old and new together, right? But they're all one family at the end of the day, and this is one ball club. So they're definitely finding their way through that. But it's been fun to watch as a coach and having them figure out, well, we've always done it this way. Well, every year you got to take inventory. Is this still going to work for us? Is this still a good habit, or do we need to change it up? You can't be afraid to change at this level. You have to adapt.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes hard and sometimes easy. It just depends on your group,
I think change is always hard for everybody.
Yeah.
even
totally
for
agree.
you and me, we've been at it a little bit long, it's just, but change is good, because if we're comfortable, we can get complacent, and that breeds the stuff that you just don't want at the end of the day. So, like you said, we've really preached a lot on the little things, and part of the little things is your process every single day. And you really got to check in and take some personal inventory of, is this a good or is this a bad? Is this addition or by subtraction with what I say and how I do it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great path to follow. Let's talk about one of the transfers comes from my neck of the woods, Des Moines Area Community College, DMAC, Sydney Kennedy, off to a great start. So talk about what makes her so good in the circle.
I'm gonna laugh. I love it. It's her she's obviously very talented from a pitching standpoint, but it's funny because you get a lot of pitchers that are playing, high level junior college ball or D1, D2, NA, whatever. Everyone has good stuff. Their stuff got them noticed and recruited, but it's the stuff that you can't see that makes the pitcher in the circle. And she is just definitely a fierce competitor. Her money's on her all the time. She doesn't shy away from the competition or the big hitter or the big moment for that matter. And I think that's the thing that she's understood. She has a real idea of who she is in the circle, how she's going to be successful, and she's that person. She doesn't try to be someone else. It's going to be her, and it's great because she's really someone that you can see her confidence and her ability, even if something's feeling a little bit off. And us pitchers, we can be a little goofy sometimes. It's not quite as easy. And I'm like, well, you know what, though, it's still good enough to get the job done. It's still good enough to get the hitters off on their timing, get those outs, right? It doesn't matter. It's not always going to be that easy, but her mindset is what makes her really just super consistent. And I think in this sport in general, when there's so much just inherent failure built into it, those that can be really consistent at what they do well are the ones that you see, start to have the year that they're having, right? So I think that's one thing that really sets Sydney apart is she doesn't try to do too much. She stays focused on how she's been successful. She continues to sharpen those skills and those tools. And, she's not afraid to compete. She's, she's not thinking about the what if, she's thinking about the now.
Yeah. I'm excited to see her throw. And, another player of yours that's been there several years, Abbott Badgley.
Yeah.
Man, she's having a turnaround year. Last year was a little bit of a down year for her, but both pitching and at the plate, man, she's hitting the ball out of the park and seeing the ball well.
Yep.
Talk about her turnaround to this year.
Yeah, I really give it to Abbott because as much as, freshman year, no one knows anything about you. You go in, you do your thing. Sophomore year, she definitely had spurts of, her normal. And then, a little bit more on the downside. But the thing that I love about Abbott is that she has continued to work hard and to really kind of not rediscover who she is, but how she's going to be successful here. And then really sticking with some of those simple adjustments that she's been making. And sometimes a lot of this is, how much are you going to adapt a skill set. There's development you do at this level. There's things that you buy into and you make some changes and you can kind of be patient with that process and let it pay off. And she's certainly done that, but I give it to Abbott because she's one that's really, she's a consistent communicator with myself and the rest of the coaching staff. She wants to be that good. She doesn't shy away from the feedback. And she really just takes the coaching just well. She does a great job with it because she just wants to know. She doesn't want anything to be sugar coated, but that's not who she is either with her teammates. So, we can kind of respect that about her. But I think the great thing she's done this year is she's really found a way to trust herself again and know that, she's got a lot of trust and faith and, behind her, we do as a coaching staff with her, and like I said, she's just been really fun to coach and work with, especially now that I've got year one with her, and now building that relationship with her. Like I said, it's been fun to build that relationship with her as a coach and seeing that all of a sudden that spark reappear in her and she's taken off with it. It's been fun to watch.
Well, you've conference season has started already. I mean, I know we're just in mid-March, but
it's here.
Conference season, it's here.
It's here. It goes by fast. It goes by fast.
So a few games in, just kind of maybe an overall thought of how you think the Valley is going to play out this year.
My honest opinion is who knows. I think you're seeing some interesting starts in the Missouri Valley from a traditional standpoint, but the interesting in general for all of us is that we only had two Missouri Valley Conference teams that had, multi-digit wins going into conference play. All of us have really played in some even more than others, some really just challenging preseason schedules. And I think there's good intentionality there because we just want to be that much better in this conference and just, you kind of you got to sharpen, you got to test your mettle a little bit before you go into conference play because you don't want to be exposed in conference season. You'd rather get exposed in the preseason and what don't we do well? What do we need to work on? And hey, this is the scouting report on us. Everyone's going to have it. So we gotta tackle it. You can't hide from it. The game's humbling. It finds you pretty quickly. So, I'm excited for obviously this year. It's year two. You always feel like you like you said, you've learned a lot, a little bit more. We still don't know enough. I'll tell you that right now. We're still learning a lot as a coaching staff here. And it was interesting too, because we opened up with Indiana State and we didn't get to see them last year. We'll see Missouri State this weekend. We didn't see them last year. They didn't see us last year either. So there's still some anomalies going on out there. But yeah, an interesting start overall. And I don't know, you're going to see some, what would have been considered upsets, some other things that are not going to be surprises because your top tier is always going to be really consistent. They put out quality ball every single year, but either way, we're excited about, like we've told the team, you take a step at a time. Next step, here we go.
Yeah, well, it certainly is going to be a fun season, and I know that was a kind of a curveball, tough question for you, but I think it's going to be an interesting race down the stretch, and we don't have time to talk about the home run derby because I know you knocked a ton out of the park during your home run derby, so no need to embarrass.
If we had a bunting derby, I would have been like,
you would be the winner. You would be the queen of the bunting derby.
Yeah, no,
Well,
hey, I mean, yeah, hey, you gotta be who you are, right? And I'm
right.
that kid, so
Hey,
that's all
play
right.
to your strengths. Play to your strengths, right?
That's right. There you go. I got coaches on the team that know how to hit home runs,
There
so
you go.
we'll let them do that. That's why I said if anyone wants to really donate on my behalf, you better bid a lot more money for my square
For the
footage,
length of your
because
hips.
I'm not taking up a lot of real estate, if you know what I mean. So
Well, hey, we're looking forward to seeing you guys play, and good luck the rest of the season. We'll see you down the road. Thanks for joining us today.
yes, ma'am. Thank you. Appreciate it.